One question kept coming back to me again and again. If your life changed at the age of 18, then why did you stay silent for 7 years? Most people assume that I was afraid, but that wasn't the real reason. The truth is, those 7 years completely changed the way I think, learn, and understand the world. And it all started with one question I couldn't stop asking. Today, I wanted to share that journey with you. Hello everyone, I am Chetna and welcome back to Journey to Enlightenment and Awareness. In the last video, I shared why I stayed silent for 7 years. But today, I want to answer a different question. What I was doing during those 7 years? Looking back, I would say my journey was about 40% of the experience and 60% of the effort that I followed. The reading, the research, the question, the observation, and the search for answers. Not because I wanted to collect knowledge, but because I wanted to understand people. I wanted to understand why we think differently, believe differently, and experience life completely differently. And this is what this video is all about. So let's begin. Question 1. What made me spend 7 years studying? Everything started with one simple realization. After my conversation with Mr. X, I stopped asking, why didn't they believe me? And instead I asked, why did we understand the same conversation so differently? That question completely changed my direction. I realized that people don't see reality in exactly the same way. Every one of us understand the world through our own experiences, education, beliefs, culture, and upbringing. That doesn't make someone intelligent or unintelligent. It simply means we are looking through different lenses. The more I thought about it, the more curious I become. If our understanding of reality is shaped by the lens we look through, then how many things might I also be misunderstanding? That question humbled me. It made me realize that before trying to explain anything to others, I first needed to keep learning myself. So I started reading. One book became 10, and 10 becomes hundred of articles, lecture, research papers, and ancient texts. What I thought would take a few months slowly turned into 7 years. Not because I was searching for the proof that I was right, but because I wanted to understand how human beings make sense of reality in the first place. And as I studied more, I noticed something that surprised me. Question 2. What surprised me the most during those 7 years? One of the biggest surprises was the relationship between science and spirituality. Growing up, I often saw them presented as opposites, almost as if choosing one meant rejecting the other. But the more I studied, the less that idea made sense to me. I found that they often begin from different starting point, ask different questions, and use different language. Yet, many times they are trying to understand the same human experience. Take stress as an example. Science explains how stress affects the brain, the nervous system, our hormones, and our behavior. Spiritual tradition describe how an uncontrolled mind, constant desire, and a lack of inner balance creates suffering. The words are different, the methods are different, but both are trying to answer an important question. Why do human beings suffer? And how can they live better? That completely changed the way I looked at both fields. I stopped asking which one is right and I started asking what can I learn from each of them. That shift became one of the most important turning point of my journey because I realized that wisdom doesn't belong to one subject. Sometimes the clearest understanding comes when different fields can help us see the same problem from different angles. But that also raised another question. If so much wisdom already exists, then why do so many people reject spiritual ideas in the first place? This is what we will explore in the Question 3. Why do people reject spiritual ideas? As I continued learning, I noticed something about human nature. Most people don't reject an idea because they are bad people, and they don't reject it because they don't want to learn. Very often they reject it because it feels unfamiliar. Our minds naturally trust what we already know. And when we hear something completely different, our first reaction is usually doubt. I realized that this doesn't happen only with spiritual ideas, it happens with new ideas in every part of life. And once I understood that, I stopped taking disagreements personally. Instead of asking, why don't they believe me? I started asking, how can I explain this in a way that they can understand? That realization completely changed the way I approached my own learning and later the way I communicate. Question 4. How did science and spirituality become my communication tools? When I began this journey, I wasn't planning to study science or psychology. I was simply searching for answers. But as my research grew, I noticed something important. Different people trust different sources of knowledge. Some people trust scientific research, some trust psychology, some trust philosophy, some trust ancient scriptures, and some trust personal experiences. None of these groups are asking bad questions, they are simply looking for answers through different paths. That made me realize something. If I wanted to communicate with all of them, I couldn't limit myself to learning from just one field. So I kept studying. Psychology helped me understood how people think, learn and make decisions. Science helped me understood the human body, the brain and behavior. And ancient scriptures, spiritual teachings helped me explore questions about consciousness, self-awareness, purpose, divine being, divinity and inner transformation. The more I learned, the more I noticed a pattern. These fields often look different on the surface, but many of them were trying to solve the same human problems. The stress, the fear, the distraction, the lack of purpose, emotional suffering. The methods were different, the language was different, but the goal was often the same: to help human beings live better lives. That was the moment everything connected for me. I stopped asking which field is correct and I started asking how can each field help us understand the same human being more completely? That question became the foundation of everything I write, teach, and share today. But this journey also led me to one final realization: if valuable knowledge exists in so many different places, then maybe the real problem isn't the lack. Question 5. Why do I believe education needs an upgrade? This is probably one of the most important questions of my entire journey. And let me be very clear. This is not about blaming teachers, this is not about blaming schools, and this is not about blaming governments. Every generation worked with the information available to it. But during these 7 years, I kept asking myself one question: if human beings have been asking questions about consciousness, suffering, purpose, discipline, morality, focus, and self mastery for thousands of years, then why do so many people believe these conversations only started recently? Most of us naturally believe what we have heard again and again since our childhood. And if certain knowledge traditions are not included in mainstream education, many people automatically assume they must be unimportant, imaginary, or irrelevant. I don't agree with that conclusion, because a book doesn't become meaningless simply because it was not taught in a classroom. A temple doesn't become meaningless simply because it was not mentioned in a textbook. And a wisdom tradition does not become meaningless simply because modern society stopped talking about it. This is where my mission was born. Not to destroy education, not to replace education, but to expand education. To reconnect knowledge that become separated. to encourage people to explore more than one perspective and to help people see a bigger picture. Because I genuinely believe that many of the humanity's answers are scattered across different systems of knowledge, and we benefit the most when we are willing to learn from all of them together. And and this is exactly why my blog and this channel is very different. Question 6. Why are my blogs different? If you have ever visited my website, Journey to Enlightenment and Awareness, you may have noticed something. I rarely look at the problem from only one angle. Most content today chooses a side, either science or spirituality, either psychology or philosophy, but my approach is completely different. I ask what happened when we put all of them together on the same table and allow them to talk to each other. This is exactly what I spent the last 7 years doing. When I write about stress, I don't only ask about what science say. I also ask what psychology say, what human behavior say, what Asian teachings say, what spiritual traditions say, and most importantly, how all of that can help a real human being living in the modern world. This is why my blogs are not just information, they are investigation, they are research journey, and they are the part of much larger mission. The same mission that led to this YouTube channel. So what is the mission of my channel? The mission is simple: to help people think deeper, to help people ask better questions, to help people connect ideas that are usually separated, or you could say that are usually kept separated, and to explore whether some of the answers humanity is searching for today may already exist in places we stopped looking. This channel is not here to tell you what to believe, it is here to encourage you to investigate it for yourself. Because awareness grows when questions grow, and questions grow when curiosity is allowed to exist. So yeah, looking back today, I can honestly say that my journey was not built on one experience alone. It was built on everything that came after it. The book, the research, the observation, the question, and the mistakes also. So, those 7 years give me the confidence to finally speak out. And now I wanted to share everything that I've learned with you. Before I end this video, let me leave you with the one final question. Many people think enlightenment happened only in ancient time. They think it cannot happen in Kali Yuga, like this is impossible in today's world. But I don't see myself as someone special or as an exception. If it can happen to one person, it can happen to others too. In the next video, I will share the name of one well-known person who is believed to have attained enlightenment during Kali Yuga. So if you don't want to miss that conversation, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.